Hello, everyone. Welcome to the So That Happened podcast. And I am Emperor Tiger Star. And with me, we have.
Wait, why are you starting it? This is my channel.
All right. Take two, action.
Okay. Hi, my name's Emperor Tiger Star. No, okay. I'm pretty sure fans know who you are, but just so people know, introduce yourself, Emperor, and we'll go from there.
Hello, I'm Emperor Tiger Star. My channel is all about animated maps and other history stuff. And that's really about it.
My name is Tristan, and I run a channel called Step Back History at stepbackhistory.com, and it is a actual history hub, I guess, if you will.
Man, an actual history. You should change your name to that. Just actual history hub, but there's no connection, and it just confuses everybody. That'd be great.
I'm Tristan from the Actual History Hub.
Have like dramatic music and everything, dun 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 dun, and then it just still shows your face, so it just doesn't match the movements of what you're doing on camera with the actual audio, so it's just confusing for everybody. It'd be great. I would fuck it.
Even better, what I'll do is I'll have my videos in my like live action style, but I'll have it in that kind of like fast slideshow style of your channel, so it'll just be pictures of me moving with like a voiceover.
And your avatar can be like Cody's evil twin or something.
That's almost like a cheesy 80s music video, but in educational history form. Like, it's a Take On Me. It's like Take On Me, but with your face, and it's really dark and gritty. That'd be confusing.
So a 2010s remake of Take On Me.
Yes.
It's the Grimdark reboot.
It's the Grimdark. Everything. That's what we need to do. That's the next phase. It's not synthwave or anything like that. It's going to be Grimdark, and everything on YouTube is just super dark and depressing. I would love it. I'd love it.
Have you noticed though that like every single trailer now for a Grimdark movie, what they'll do is they'll take a classic 80s song, they'll slow it down a little bit and have it like only be played on piano. So like, you know,
yeah, they do that.
Lord did that thing of like everybody wants to rule the world, but just did it extra slow and menacing with like a bunch of Inception noises and loud like clash noises or whatever.
Well, they
dun,
do.
Dun,
it's
almost.
It's almost become like a cliche, like a trailer cliche. What was the song they always use? It's that Willy Wonka song. The world of pure imagination, but they make they make it dark and gritty, and they did that with Ready Player One, and it made me so mad. And,
I know.
And
they also did it to the Jungle too by Guns N' Roses. Like,
they do that in every single variation of Queen. They do. Just it never gets old ever. Not after like the 50th time. There was I remember somebody was saying that they were in a movie theater and they watched two trailers back to back. One was Suicide Squad and another was some Disney movie, but they used two Queen songs just for the trailers. It's like that's the new thing. That's the new Inception womp in the world or anything like that.
You don't know who you can thank for that? That was actually Guardians of the Galaxy that started all that.
I know. I mean, I love Guardians of the Galaxy, but I love Inception too, but it's kind of like they ruined it. You know what? Those movies never should have existed. No matter how good they are, they just shouldn't exist. So we don't have to deal with those minute little aches in theaters.
Like the difference is though that like Guardians of the Galaxy arguably use like I don't want to say like unknown songs because obviously people know those songs, but like those songs from like the 70s and 80s that they used were like secondary songs when you think of the 80s. Like they didn't pick like Staying Alive by the Bee Gees or I don't know, something by Marvin Gaye or Led Zeppelin or something. Like no, they just picked like the B 80s songs that like you would hear on like 70s radio stations but you wouldn't hear anywhere else.
So to like make this thing all go full circle, then we have to posit what the slow, sad, grim, dark reboot song is of Aha's Take On Me.
Actually, you could do that creepy. You could do that very well, creepy.
All you have to do is have a kids chorus sing it.
I'm just imagining that now. I'm actually getting goosebumps from that. That's the thing that's this kind of cliche, I know it's a cliche, but if you do it right, it can work.
And then I could just imagine the movie already. It's already in my head, you know? The guy's stuck in a comic book, and like you have like the scene where he brutally bludgeons those 2 police officers to death with a wrench, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And he just like emerges in that girl's house, like just shirt torn, bloody and bruised, and just, you know, that 1,000-mile stare.
The violins start up where they do that little screechy noise as it slowly gets louder and louder and louder and louder.
They've been doing that in all horror movies now, like, because we have that new trend of horror movies are huge now, but every single horror movie is almost the same way of how they have a scary moment. They have that violin to show you it's the scary part. You should be freaked out. The new It did that too, even though that was such a fantastic movie. They still had those horror cliches of it's like, oh, this is the scary part, so we're gonna have the violin, so you better scream. And the thing that's worse is that it actually worked on my girlfriend, because when have you guys seen it yet? Yeah. So you know that part where he basically comes out of the basement and like does that whole like, I kind of laughed at that, but I was
where he did the ooga booga booga.
Yeah, the ooga booga booga. Yeah, that scared my girlfriend, and she yelled in the theater, like actual like yell, and it went right in my ear, and I thought, wow, that violin thing actually worked on somebody. I am surprised. This is like the first time in recorded history I've ever seen that work.
They're paying attention in psychoacoustics class.
Yeah. Also, clowns are creepy. I like the design of Pennywise in this. Especially the way that, just all of it, 10 out of 10, yeah. We're becoming shills now for It. Go see It in theaters. We're not at all paid for this.
Plus, updating all the kid pop culture from the 50s to the 80s made me happier. Because even though I was never around in the 80s, I loved the 80s. And so, like, seeing, like, people wearing, like, the Anthrax and Metallica shirts. I even saw, like, the guy who got, like, killed in the sewer, like, the older guy, he was wearing a Stray Cats t-shirt.
Yeah,
and that's like more obscure from the 80s, and that just made me happy.
I like how they keep using that kid from Stranger Things. I don't know what it is about them using that specific kid. I don't know if he has that 80s face, but they use him in every single 80s theme. I don't know what his name is, but he was in It and he was in Stranger Things, and I just find it funny.
Just wait, like every other 80s child star, he's gonna have his moment.
What if
he's caught in his Lamborghini with like 18 pounds of cocaine?
That's kind of a paradox. If he's a kid in an 80s TV if he's a kid in an 80s movie now, does that mean he's already had his crisis and crashed? And is he on his recovery now? Is he on like his Leo almost? Is he like the new Leonardo DiCaprio? How he's like done all his partying even though he's like 12? Because he's been in an 80s movie?
No, man, he's totally Robert Downey. So, like, he's just 30 years delayed. So he's going to get caught with a bunch of cocaine. He's going to spend most of the 2030s in, like, relative obscurity. And then he's going to star in the Grimdark reboot of Iron Man as Tony Stark. And then career start all over again. You
know what? I'm going to say it right now. I would want that kid's life to be ruined just so I could get my Grimdark Tony Stark Iron Man. I'm going to say, makes me a horrible person, but I need my Grimdark Iron Man. And what would that even be? What would that even...
We have a Grimdark song for Iron Man. We have Iron Man by Black Sabbath, so there we go.
I'm thinking of what a Grimdark Iron Man would even be. Like, he would just be... He'd be like a Space Marine from 40K. That's all he would really be, is he'd just go around and just... Everything needs to be Grimdark.
You're saying that Iron Man is a Space Marine?
I'm saying Iron Man could be a Space Marine. I mean, even the enemy that he fought in the first movie, the Jeff Bridges, when Jeff Bridges was bald, he was kind of the size of a Space Marine, to be honest. Or at least, yeah, I think he was a little bit bigger than a Space Marine, but that was kind of what a Space Marine really is.
They just sell out even more and put him in, like, Halo armor.
Oh, jeez.
So, wait. All right, then. Does that mean that when we get our Warhammer 40K, like, blockbuster movie, it's going to star Jeff Bridges?
I wish. Sure. Let's do it. He'll be like... Yeah. He would... Man, he could be the God Emperor. Except, I mean, you'd have to give him like a pretty bad spray tan and stuff and fake hair, but he might pull it off. Who knows?
Maybe he can play the Emperor, but like the Emperor of like the 40K universe. So he's like this like shriveled husk of a human connected to like a billion machines.
He just, okay, this is what we do. We wait till Jeff Bridges is dead, and then we dig up his body and we put him in the Golden Throne, and then that is his final greatest performance, is just his dead corpse rotting, and we film it, and he is the God Emperor. And that's how we make our 40K movie. We gotta wait till Jeff Bridges is dead.
Beautiful. Should we go ahead and start up on our video follow-ups?
Yeah, you want to go first, my lady? Huh?
I refuse to answer and acknowledge that, because then I'll be late.
Good sir. How about that? Are you happy?
Take that, 5th grade logic.
There you go.
Go, kitty.
I don't care whose we do first.
I thought we agreed that it would be... I mean, because I'm the host, and so it's only polite for... I mean, you also host too, but this is my channel, so you go first. Just go first.
All right. So my most recent video was over the rise and fall of England / the UK / the British Empire / the British Commonwealth. There are so many slashes in the name because they keep changing their name all the time. Like, of all the European colonial empires, like, Britain was like the most bureaucratic in how it treated everything. Like, you think of like, okay, there's the homeland and then there's the colonies. So like, you know, that was most countries. Britain had colonies, protectorates, client states, princely states, puppet states, occupied territory. Like, they had dominions, self-ruling dominions, semi-independent dominions. Like, they had it just made things so complicated with the British. Like, technically Canada was a British colony, then it became a British dominion, which meant that they made their own laws but were still a colony of the British Empire. Then in 1931 they signed this little treaty saying like, okay, in the League of Nations you'll be considered a country but you're still a dominion. Woohoo. And then in the 1982 was when, technically speaking, they left the British Empire. Technically.
Yes.
So since the League of Nations collapsed on itself, does that mean that really their whole like legal binding of like, you're a nation now, that didn't really count until then?
No, because they signed a thing, it was like called the Statute of Westminster. And it was basically, it was like they're like, okay, we're going to transition your way out of the empire. But like the reason why they technically didn't leave the British Empire until 1982 is because there was a clause for that where you couldn't make a change to the Canadian Constitution without British approval. And so in 1982, they're just like, are we really doing this? Like, do we really have to do this? And Britain's just like, yeah, good point. We don't need to do this anymore. And so they just signed it, and it's like, yay, Canada's finally 100% independent.
I've always found out how funny it would be if Queen Elizabeth was kind of like a tyrant, like a secret tyrant. And so every action she did, like if people want to be independent, she's like, no, you can't. Hey, Britain, can Canada be independent? No, I like them where they are. Oh, okay. And then they just don't do anything.
And she gets machines, and she becomes the goddess empress and lives forever.
No, she'd be Eldar. She's reached that age that she would become an Eldar.
I really hope that like once she turns like 100, assuming she lives that long, she just gets this idea of like, well, I'm gonna die any day, so I might as well make every day super fun. And she just, for the lulz, dissolves Parliament because she can still technically do that.
Yeah, so I do have a couple things I should add to that conversation about Canada as Canadian. So Canada did, like you said about the League of Nations, all that's true, but we did basically get most of our independence between the 30s and such. When we declared war on Germany in World War II, we technically did it on our own, although we did it like as like a statement one day after the British did. So we waited a day just so that we could say that we weren't like a total dominion anymore.
Because like it's like such a like there are lots of like asterisks and annotations all over the whole thing because it's like technically you are a country, technically you make your own laws, but technically you're still a part of the British Empire. Like it's just like so it's such like a weird state of being.
Yeah, it's true. And even today we still have a representation, like our head of state is still the Queen, and we still have the Governor General, who is the Queen's representation in in the government, and the Governor General still has to sign things before they're actual like 100% laws, and the Governor General can still interrupt Parliament, can still prorogue Parliament. So there's still like things that are still like the Queen could still cause mischief if she wanted to.
And that's where the Commonwealth comes in, because as the British Empire is falling apart because of decolonization, almost like in an act of stubbornness, just so they can give up the empire without actually giving up the empire, they formed the British Commonwealth, which was later changed to just the Commonwealth of Nations to make it seem less Brit-centric. And the idea was, okay, so you're leaving the British Empire, but I can still be your queen, but I don't really do much. But I'm still your queen. My portrait is still in your classroom, so it's like a way I can still rule over all you guys without actually having to do anything about it. But then, like, later in the 50s, they changed their mind about that, too, because so many of them, like, voted to become republics, so they didn't have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so eventually the British Commonwealth became the Commonwealth of Nations. Like, no, it's okay. You can still be a republic and be a member of the Commonwealth, too. That's fine. Because, like, Ireland voted out of it in 49. South Africa voted out of it, and several countries in Africa voted out of it. Other countries in Africa voted out of it too. India and Pakistan also voted out of it. So, just kind of became a point. It was like, no, it's okay. You can be republics. Just stay with us, please. We miss our empire so much. We don't want to let it go.
It's like Granny trying to keep all the kids visiting the retirement home, basically. Like, it's, you can only visit on Thursdays. It's fine. That's kind of depressing when I use that analogy, but it's kind of the same thing.
Like, have you seen the meme where, like, you see, like, a guy in a wheelchair being, like, handled by, like, his son and daughter, and he goes, I used to rule the world, We know, Dad, we know.
My favorite one is a pulling ball one where it has Britain splashing in a tub with a rubber ducky, and it's like, Britannia rules the seas, and then everyone's kind of looking at him with, like, just sadness. Like he's lost his mind.
I mean, it's better than like the way the French handled decolonization by like doubling down and saying like, yeah, of course, like St. Pierre and Miquelon, these two tiny islands off the coast of Newfoundland, are part of France. That's why they use the euro and vote in our elections. They're now just like part of the country.
Well, France had to like, I mean, they were walloped both times in both world wars, and so they kind of had to be seen as strong again. I mean, they've always been a strong empire. They've always been one of the biggest military forces in the world. But because they were beat in World War II, they kind of had an egg on their face. So they took all that anger out on their colonies that tried to rebel. And it's like, no, you're not going to try to ruin France's prestige. And so they invest a shit ton of, can we cuss? I think we can cuss in this. But they invested a lot of military into French Indochina and in Africa and in Algeria, and it's all because they didn't want to lose that prestige that they did with the Nazis.
Yeah, pretty much. I like to call it the Alaska method, where they just make everything that's far away like Alaska, because like French Guiana or Guinea, Guyana, whatever it's pronounced, is essentially like Alaska or Hawaii is to us. It's technically a state that's just far away.
Yeah, and that's why you see weird things. And I didn't even think about it that much until you see things like this photo that's the border checkpoint between Brazil and France.
Yep. And it's like the only spot you can use like the euro and the Americas. All the former French colonies.
Oh, there's also, like I said, there's two islands off the coast of Newfoundland that actually are also French colonies. So they also use the euro.
St. Pierre and Miquelon.
I mean, they have Saint Martinique, right? Too. I think that's one.
They have half of them.
They have
half of Saint Martin, Guadalupe, and Martin K. Martin K, whatever it's called. It's French.
Yeah. The French got the Saint Martinique, and then the Dutch have Saint Martin.
Damn Dutch ruining names. Martinique, it flows off the tongue, and then Saint Martin, it's just,
with 2 A's.
See, they just have to make it worse. I always like making, me and my friend, he is, of Dutch descent, like, quote unquote, and so, I always give him shit for it. I call him, like, an underwater clog monkey, and I just have, like, I just make these overly racist remarks towards the Dutch for, like, absolutely no reason. And, I mean, it's all in good fun, but sometimes it seeps into you, and you think, maybe I do hate the Dutch. Maybe just slowly. Somebody contribute to that so I don't feel like a horrible person.
Well, I mean, my ancestry is Dutch, so you better watch it, boy.
Oh,
like, what the fuck, Cody?
Oh, no.
Like, seriously. You made your bed. You got to sit in it. You're like an anti-Dutch, like, racist or something.
May the Flying Dutchman haunt you in your dreams every night.
That is a stereotype. That's an offensive stereotype, and you know it. Not all Dutchmen can fly.
I'm Dutch, so it's okay.
Can you half fly?
I'm not Dutch. I'm American.
Can you fly?
Can you half fly? Can, like, one arm...
If we're going back in my family, like, back in the early 1800s, then I'm Dutch, and it's okay.
So he can hover, but only if, like, he's had a really big dinner beforehand.
So are you half Dutch, half cat? Is that how this works?
I mean, my last name's Dutch, so I don't know the exact percentages, but I mean, I am largely Dutch, German, and I think a bit of Welsh too. I mean, I haven't done a DNA test or anything.
Well, this is a good time to sponsor Ancestry DNA. No, I'm just kidding. We're not.
Now, we're all going to break down our ethnic pie charts.
We just bring out like the whole map of everything and all that stuff.
If you would go to slide 13, you can see my 23andMe results.
It's all a lie. I'm actually 100% Swiss. How did this happen?
I was actually terrified that... Well, this is the funny thing. When I got my Ancestry results back, I was a little underwhelmed because I thought I accurately predicted what most of my ancestry was. Because, like, my face is just annoyingly British. It's an annoyingly British face. And I don't know how to describe it, but I don't know how to describe it. But
you just did.
But anyway, because it looked like that, and my last name is Franklin, I thought, well, it only makes sense that I would have British ancestry. Well, the results came back, and it was like 50%. It was like 50% British. And I think they said that the average Brit has like 60% British DNA, like actual British DNA. So I only have 10% less British DNA than the average Brit, which is like... but it's underwhelming because I wasn't surprised by anything, and I just thought, oh, this is a thing that I thought I always was, and there was 20% Irish and like 30% Swedish, which I don't know how that happened, but
I suddenly had the urge to listen to ABBA all day.
Oh god, oh no, but the thing that was actually pretty interesting was and this is in no way a recommendation of anything, but they had not only where your European ancestors were from, but what genetic DNA you share with Americans. And so it is supposed to accurately track how long your family has been in North America. And it dated it back to like the very first colonists in like Appalachia, which explains a lot because my mom's side of the family has absolutely no idea where we came from, and that would actually make a lot of sense because who knows? Who knows? But yeah, apparently it was pre-revolution even.
Explains all those double recessive genes, right?
Yeah, explains a lot. But anyway, yeah, we're getting off.
Hey, I go do my DNA thing too. You guys all got to do it.
What was your DNA thing? Did you do a DNA thing?
Yeah, I did an Ancestry one about a year ago. I am super duper super French. Like,
You're super French?
Yeah. I have like an English name, but that's because like.
Oh no.
I don't know. But yeah, I did a test, and it traced back to like we have a similar thing with the Canadian stuff with your like what you said when people came, and this has been verified by genealogy that's been done in my family too, and it goes back to 17th century Quebec.
Damn. So I was kind of guessing that since you're Canadian and you have overwhelming French genes, but you know what? I think you need to go back. You need to go back to Quebec. It's we can't mix. You gotta go back.
Well, I've already mixed because like my dad is like English and Newfoundland and all sorts of stuff. So I'm already a mutt. But the biggest slice of my ethnic pie chart definitely is French.
What's the others?
There's like Newfoundland, so that's like some Irish. I think there's some English, and there's some hint that there's like tiny bits of like, oh, this is gonna make the chat real happy, Ashkenazi Jewish and like North African and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm watching the spam or the live chat, and it's hilarious how as soon as you mentioned French, the chat just went nuts about all like stupid French. Oh yeah, so that's kind of
they're gonna hate me because I'm like French and like 0.8%
I can see
Jewish.
I can see you guys. That's great. Oh, why did you say that? 0.8%?
Yeah, like it's tiny.
Oh, I think mine's was 0.1, like literally one Jewish ancestor maybe, but that was like within the realm of it just might not have been at all. And
well, like, that's the thing about like European, everybody who's European, like if you have ancestors who lived in Europe, like Jews lived all over the continent for hundreds, thousands of years, and so you're like more likely than not to have bound to have at least somebody Jewish in your family if you go back deep enough.
I'm just watching the live stream blow up. Oh my god, this is funny.
I like just anti-Semitism, and then like one that just says Harambe.
Somebody put my name in quotation in parentheses or whatever.
Oh my! Is that the first time that's happened to you?
Yeah, I mean nobody's ever. You know, I never show my face, so.
Fair enough.
I mean, usually I get accused of the opposite. I was accused of being a Nazi today. Somebody was like, you only insult the left, which I never insult the left.
You never really insult anyone.
The only people I ever
all insults as much as possible.
The only people I ever insult are anarchists, and that's it. Like that's
that's okay. They can't organize against you.
Yeah. So I mean, I've never like said anything political against anyone. I mean, publicly. I mean, I'm definitely not. No, remember last time we did this yesterday, and then it just completely devolved into a political thing. This happens every time. We gotta stop ourselves.
Just remember, if you see an anarchist on the road, just shout "roads," and then they'll drive themselves crazy, and you can use that distraction to get away.
I already have
maybe
so many.
Sometime we have a longer conversation about this, but
we need to have the blacklist, like uncensored, podcast / live stream / whatever this is, and it's just like super gritty. It's our true thoughts. It's called "So That Will Happen" or something like that, or "So That Happened."
Uncut podcast.
To make the chat even more fun, I do have like anarchist tendencies, so you know it'll be fun.
Go nuts, chat. There you go. Oh yeah.
I am like these people, like your chat openly hates me. I love it.
Yeah.
So okay. Do we want?
You're among friends. They openly hate everybody. They hate me. I don't know why. Everybody hates everybody. It's the internet.
So now should we comment on Tristan's video or your video next?
Tristan, since you have the love of the audience, why don't you speak for a while? Seems like a good time.
And this one is also going to be a one that people like. So my most recent video is actually about the Girl Scouts or the Girl Guides and the kind of untold but pretty important role they played in the Second World War.
Like, what did they do?
Send the soldiers your cookies.
Send Girl Scouts to the front lines.
So some of the bigger ones they did is there was a Girl Scout troop in China that was kind of like British and Americans who were captured by the Japanese and put in an internment camp where they were basically like the only source of like stability in like the community of people who lived in that concentration camp. And like the Girl Guide leaders like used kind of like Girl Scout activities as like ways to help like get the kids to like just survive, and like, you know, they made like a game out of like going out and looking for scraps of coal and like eating like food that was barely edible and stuff like that. The other one too, that the other interesting story, and this one's probably more in the vein of what the chat would like, is there were a lot of Girl Guides that were made. So the Girl Scouts were made illegal by the Nazi Reich because they're trying to promote like the girl version of the Hitler Youth. And so the Girl Guides or Girl Scouts, I'm using the term interchangeably, were heavily involved in things like the Polish resistance. So there was a lot of like Girl Guides who ran like underground newspapers and like supplied like troops, like broke people out of prison and things like that.
So wait, but they didn't have weapons. Were they just more of like supply runners? Yeah, and they also played a big role in like the post-war like refugee crisis and rebuilding and everything. That's weird. Well, because I mean, my only idea of the Girl Scouts is just that, like, go down the suburbs with the cookies and stuff. So the idea of them actually doing something is interesting in itself, but the fact that they do World War II stuff and fight with and do stuff for the Polish resistance, like, wowzers.
Yeah, there's one story where like they would go to places that were getting firebombed, like so like when the Allies would firebomb places in Poland or just strategic bombing, they would also bomb like places like, you know, ghettos and civilian areas, and these like Polish resistant Girl Guides would go and like throw sand on incendiary bombs and like shovel them off of roofs and stuff like that to make sure that their houses didn't burn down.
Well, you know what? If I ever help out with the Polish resistance, I sure will wear a skirt. Oh, my phone went off. No, I don't want to. People are emailing me about the stream. So yeah, wait, did you just make this video? When did this come out?
This one came out on Thursday.
Oh, okay. See, everybody has such older videos than me. Mine's is so old. It's an hour old.
I didn't even get to see it.
Oh, I actually haven't told you. I haven't told you guys this. I told Tiger Star this, but I didn't tell you. So I actually haven't slept since Friday night because I had a collaboration today, and I sort of passed it off. I was supposed to have this done last week, but because of our internet video, I was like, oh shit, I need to push this off. So I pushed it off another week. And it just so happens that every single time I push something off, I can't push it off anymore. And it culminates in this big ball of all of my life choices coming back to hurt me. So I had to get this California video written, edited, and finished in the span of 2 days. Because I'm not just writing the California video, I'm writing another video, which I can't legally say what I'm doing, but my efforts have gone to that, so I haven't slept since Friday.
And it's just, and you were doing this with our video too, like when we worked on that internet video together, you had like not like I at one point you were like you had not slept in like 2 days, and you messaged me and you were like, all right, dude, the video can either come out tomorrow and be really bad, or you can let me go to sleep.
I feel like wait.
Is my mic caught up to him?
Is my mic muted?
No, we can hear you.
Yeah, but okay, he can hear. Wait. Okay.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Somebody in the chat said Cody can't hear you, so I was like, "Whoa, what the? 1 second."
They do stuff like that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, yeah. Like. Okay. So this is a funny thing. This is how my whole year has went. Almost. It's kind of exercise for how much my brain can take, and I could say it's actually helped me. Because the first time I did this, I was in Washington for a rally. I'm not gonna say which rally it was, but it was for like a march, and I stayed over in the hotel. And the funny thing was that this was for a college school thing, and so there were already probably like 50 fellow students there, and we all had to share rooms. Well, the thing is that because of this rally, this was also connected to a local charity thing, and so there were older people in it too. Well, everyone got matched up with rooms with people their own age, except for me, because I was last minute. So I had to share a room with a bunch of 50-year-old men who I did not know. And I did not want to do that. And so what I did was I had to finish, this was when the Dish United States of America video was going out. I was working on that. I worked on that video all night in a Washington, D.C. hotel hallway. They had this little, they have those little makeshift desks and like those shitty chairs. I basically made my own little workstation using my Windows Surface, and I was fueled only by Red Bull and Monster, and I stayed up for 12 hours, and I got the entire video finished. Like, I did the audio right before I left, and I sent it to my brother, and my brother edited the audio, and he sent it to me. And so the thing that I had to do was the art. And the thing of how Windows Surfaces work is they are super hard to do anything that is not like Photoshop. So I had to use Windows Movie Maker, which, I mean, Tiger Star, you know how kind of difficult that is a little bit.
Windows Movie Maker is the best.
Well, I'm used to Mac stuff, so if it's not something like I'm specifically used to it, I just suck at it. So it took...
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, it was a relatively simplistic video, too. But anyway, I stayed up for 12 hours, and by the time that I had finished, I didn't get any sleep. And I was cranky and, like, mad. And we were going back to Ohio. The buses were taking us to Ohio. Well, the thing was that the hotel Wi-Fi was the only Wi-Fi we would have on the trip, except for this one bus stop, which was in Pennsylvania. The problem was that I had to send it to the sponsor for them to approve it, for me to get the video out on that day. And if I didn't, I would miss the deadline. So I sent them the video at 8 a.m. and they emailed me at 8:30, and they said, "You got this one part wrong." And it was right before we were getting on the bus. So I had to quickly edit it, and I didn't have enough time to actually send it to them, so I had to wait 2 hours to then find a Wi-Fi source, send them the video, and then they didn't approve it because it was Friday, and they don't work on the weekends after like 6. So, yeah, and so I had to wait until Monday then to get the video up.
Lovely.
I did all that stress. But the moral of the story is that was the first time I ever like stayed up a lot, and it's helped me throughout the rest of the year, especially with like your stuff and the Southern Victory stuff I stayed up for too. But yeah, I mean, as long as I just kind of have a goal, I guess I kind of ignore everything, and then who knows?
And only the cost of 3 years off your life when you least expect it.
Oh man, I've probably lost so much gray. I've probably got so much gray hair from this. Like it's.
So then, Cody, does that like all right? So this is the only experience I have of your history in making videos is this one that the story you just told, the video that just came out an hour ago, and the one we did there, and all three of them are times you pulled like all-nighters. Are you like just like a 0 to 100 person? Like, what do you do in your regular like putting in 8 hours type day?
Okay, so the thing is that sometimes it depends on the topic. If it's a topic that I'm really interested in, I will get a video finished in like 4 days, like 8 hours a day. Boom, 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 boom. Video will be done. But then, and like 90% of that is the script that I have to have finished. But then there's other stuff which are more complicated scenarios, like the slavery video, which you have so many factors going into it. You have the sugar colonies, you have European politics that were affected by sugar profits, you have the demographics and everything. You have so many different, when you have scenarios with so many different factors, it does two things. It makes me want to research more, and when I research more, I get more entrapped in books. I think I bought like 12 different books for the slavery video, all pertaining to like specific minute things. Like, there's one that was about the rise of like one specific West African kingdom in like the 17th century, and there's another about British sugar plantation owners and the rise of their fortune. And I didn't read every single one, but I read a significant portion of each one to get an idea of it. And the thing is like, in the end, that doesn't really matter that much, but it gives me a better certainty that when I write a scenario, I have a fair idea of what would happen or what would go on. It gives an understanding of the world, I guess you could say that.
So in other words, when you retire from your illustrious YouTube career, you're going to have a Victorian-style library.
Oh, Izzy would be the one with the Victorian-style library. I would just borrow from it. I would just be like,
if you're buying like 10 books a video and then multiply that over the years, eventually you're going to have a library of some kind.
Well,
or a yearly book sale.
The thing that's sad is that these are ebooks, so so these only go on my iPad. So if I had the ebooks that I have on my iPad, I would probably have a shelf of like a whole bookshelf filled with books. But
so
it would make me
just change the wallpaper to a library background with the fireplace.
I could do that. Yeah, it would be like JPEG. It'd just be a big JPEG bloated image and just
really poorly compressed.
Yeah, really poorly compressed and just shittily taped on. Like, not even good. Like, you see the tape everywhere. It's like how I hang my flags up now. You see the tape on the flags because I didn't actually properly hang them up. Yeah, so usually the way that I make a video is I obsess over the world and how the scenario would go, and then it overwhelms me, and then I play video games for like a day or two, and then I go back to it, and it overwhelms me, but I have to push it through because the deadline's there. And if I don't have a deadline, like what happened with the slavery video, I'll never think it's good enough. So I'll just keep pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back. And I'll keep telling myself, oh, I got tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Or, it's only been a week. It's only been 2 weeks. It's only been 3 weeks. And, it's not that I'm not working on it. I actually am working on it. It's just I'm never satisfied with the script. It took me 3 to 4 weeks to make the Slavery Never Existed script. And it wasn't because it was just a masterful work of art. It was... I went through so many rewrites, paranoid that somebody would point out, I screwed this up wrong, or I did this wrong. Because that used to always happen in my old videos. I would not research a video really good, and basically somebody would point out one... Wait one sec. I did this wrong. Okay. I was just checking the live stream. Yeah, so people would point out this one critical thing that I did wrong. It would ruin the entire scenario. I mean, all of my early videos had one critical flaw to them that you could just disprove. And yeah, so I've done more research, and by doing that, it takes a while, and then I cram them in the end because eventually deadlines and other people are waiting on me, like you or Tiger Star, or I'm like, oh well,
every
I
stream,
can't.
Just a barrage of where is part 3?
Yeah, I can't. Where's part 3? Where is this? What are you doing?
At one point,
it's hanging out with Half-Life Part 3, I think.
Like, at one point on all my streams, I had to have an endless scrolling text along the bottom saying, "Guys, I don't make part 3. Quit asking me."
I don't know if you know this, but this is part 3 was pretty much just another continuation in delayed projects that people have always continuously asked me about. I remember when people asked about Germany World War I Part 2, and that was the biggest thing. I didn't do that for 2 months. And everyone was saying, where's part 2? Where's part 2? Before Alternate Countries 3 was made, that was always the thing, is do Alternate Countries 3. So there's always something that I both fail at delivering, and people always constantly remind... Oh, wait! Oh, I forgot the most infamous one. And just watch the chat, because it's probably going to blow up. Empire of Ethiopia video, which I just casually said in... Somebody said it. Yeah, the Empire... I did an Empire... I mentioned that maybe I would do an Empire of Ethiopia video when I had like 2,000 subs, and everybody was like, you need to do the Empire of Ethiopia video, and this was back in 2013, and I still never did it, and you can see the chat just blowing up right now. And it's almost a meme now. That's the true Half-Life 3. And I feel like, you know what I'm going to talk about why I haven't done Empire of Ethiopia. Because, yeah, the chat's going nuts. So I actually originally was planning on... I still might go back to Empire of Ethiopia. Yeah, I heard... Yeah.
Goddamn tease.
But the reason why I did it at the time, and I kept pushing it back, was because I couldn't confidently make the scenario different. In every single scenario I made, Ethiopia would just get inevitably crushed by European powers. And that wasn't interesting. That wasn't fun. So I thought, okay, there's something I'm missing. And I'll just push it back. And
what if Ethiopia actually did have the Ark of the Covenant and won against every single invader?
I would want Ethiopia to invade Italy. That'd be interesting. Have that happen. Like, they get mad that Mussolini invades them, so they're like, okay, you know what? We're going after you, Mussolini. And but yeah, I mean, I would want to do an Empire of Ethiopia video, but I feel like it's something that is almost a Half-Life 3 at this time. Like, you lose a little bit of the charm to it, but also you get to piss off fans by being Gabe Newell. This is my Gabe Newell. Let me have... No. I might get back to it. I need to do more research on Ethiopia and stuff.
Just do something for, like, April Fool's Day, where, like, again...
I did that. I did that.
The Covenant.
I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. I did a video titled, Empire of Ethiopia, what if it existed? And the video was like, I'm actually gonna play it on the chat because I put it on unlisted because it got so much hate. It was about one sec. Let me go to channel, and this was actually a while back. But people basically saw it and they were like, "Why are you doing this? What is this?" And they got pissed. Wait, all videos.
So just going back a few steps, weren't you and I talking about part 3 at that really shitty tiki bar in Anaheim?
Part 3 for...
You were like, yeah, let's do the internet video, but I gotta do part 3 first.
Oh yeah, that was a while ago. So I had to, you know, I actually might have to go to Creator Studio. God, they changed the layout so you can't actually see all of your past videos now. You have to go to Video Manager and then go all the way down and then look at it. Let's see. And I know nobody on the stream is actually seeing anything, but okay, here it is. I did a video of what if Ethiopia was a superpower. I have a thumbnail and everything, and I'm going to play this. I think I can play this on the stream.
Yeah, we should be able to hear it.
No, I'm going to play on the window capture. Here we go. Yeah. So, so basically, here we go. Here's the stream. Yippee. So basically, this was the fake video I made. I forgot how weird it was. Now, I have been asked to cover this scenario for over 3 years. Finally, it can come to an end. And the only reason it took so long was because the scenario was very, very complicated. What if Alf had won the 1996 election and became President of the United States? But first, some context. Alf is a cultural icon. Time magazine ranked him the #1 fictional character of the 20th century, narrowly defeating runners-up Garfield at number 2, and of course, Gus, the field goal kicking donkey from the hit 1976 Disney classic, Gus. So, what would happen if Alf had become president? Here is one illustration.
President Bo, President Banana, Banana Bo, President Beef, President. I'm the president.
I forgot how elaborate I got with that.
Oh, that's a nice touch with the, like, mushroom clouds and fire.
Yeah. So, that pissed everyone off. And, I mean, some people thought it was funny, but a lot of people genuinely thought they were getting that Ethiopia video. And I felt guilty, so I made it unlisted and never showed anyone. So this is the first time people have seen it in months. This is the only time people will ever see it again.
So then, like, in Cracker Barrels around the country, when people pick up the Alternate History Hub Definitive Collection on DVD, you'll have that under the special features, right?
Yeah, that when in 30 years, when people buy DVDs from Cracker Barrel, I guarantee my content will be the first that they get. It will be great.
You'll be like one of the classics, or they'll have like the YouTube Golden Years bundle DVD.
I want to be right up there with like the Alf Special Edition, but like not like it has to be like the Alf's TV movie where he came back and like all of the family didn't even know he existed. That needs to be like bundled in with my Alternate History Hub content. That's the only way I'm going to DVD is if I get bundled in with Alf. That's it.
Yeah, and you'll put it in the Cracker Barrel right next to the triple feature DVD of Clint Eastwood movies and the Root Beer Barrel.
And of course, it'll be the type of DVD where the case has as thin of a bit of plastic as possible, because they didn't want to waste any money on this.
This is such a weird conversation that we got to. Anyway, okay, we're gonna call so off track. Also talking about Alf is making the cat scared because Alf eats cats. Yeah. So do you want to talk about the California video?
I mean, we can.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah. So somebody actually had a very good question. They basically asked. So it's from Greenlandia. He said, "I'm kind of sad you didn't talk about the gold rush in California and how it would be affected, and especially Asian immigration to America, if they would settle deeper."
We talked about this last night.
Yeah. Okay. So for context for the rest of for everyone, me and Tiger Star talked about this entire scenario extensively last night. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why I didn't get any sleep, was because we were just
and
talking
by last
about,
night we mean like
literally
1 and 2 in the morning.
Yeah, like literally last night. This video was in its conception stage. So now that I think about it, I'm like, how did I get this video finished in any way? But yeah, so we have so many different ideas of how this scenario would have went. And one of them was
based off of the gold rush and plate tectonics.
Yeah, so we were focusing on plate tectonics a bit too much, but then the gold rush was the thing that we kept thinking about. How would people, would that be the thing that would make more Americans come in? And the conclusion we came with was, yeah, it would. They would. It would really kind of be the same population rush we saw, but because there's only like 3 ways for people to really get into California, it really stagnates the rush itself. It's a lot smaller. But I felt like the reason I didn't talk about the gold rush was because there was already so much in the video, and it didn't really. I mean, are you kind of mad that I didn't talk about the gold rush? Because I
mean, we did all this talking and it went to nowhere.
That's how most of these scenarios are. There's like so much that we actually talk about. But
I mean, I agree, because like you could go, because it's California, culturally, politically, and like historically, it's just so important to American history.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, there's only so much you can talk about. I mean, really.
I feel like
you also didn't talk about, like, oh, there'd be less earthquakes because California's already an island, so there's no San Francisco earthquake, and so now fire stations across the country are completely different.
You know what we did? You know what we didn't talk about? I just realized we didn't talk about this. Okay, so the elevation, the normal elevation of like Colorado, well, not Colorado, of like Nevada, is 13,000 feet above sea level. And we agreed that if the only way California could exist as an island is if we still had the same elevation, but we split it, because this isn't really going for exact realism. We can't change everything. It's just California itself as an island. So the elevation still exists. And I didn't realize how big of a number 13,000 feet is, because the Grand Canyon itself is only 6,000 feet. Yeah. So this is almost like, this is changing the weather. Like, this is changing the way that storms are, the way that like the we didn't even go into how the climate of California would be, because I mean, we're not really climatologists. We don't really know. This isn't really our expertise. We're more of history people, but that's the thing, that this scenario kind of spirals out of control, because California could be a frozen wasteland for all we know. It could have all its trees could be dead. It could be a desert, because of this strait, the Strait of Cortez, what we called it.
We also considered talking about like animals until we realized, okay, that's like too much.
I think.
Hey Cody, you seem to really like geography. I have a suggestion. Maybe you should start like a second channel that's like about geography.
Hey, this guy.
Oh, like a geography hub.
Oh, yeah. The laughs that we have together here on Funtastic Podcast. That's what this name is, because you guys are such jokesters. You know what? Yeah, no, Geography Hub. it's funny because as much as I like geography, there is only so much you can do with it. Like,
maybe you can do an Ethiopian geography video.
Why was Ethiopia so successful to become a superpower? Oh, wait.
Diplomacy, pretty much.
Diplomacy and their abundance of food.
What's it called? The Gulf of Aden and stuff?
Because, I mean, pretty much when the Europeans came in, like, they were able to make treaties with all of them except for Italy because Italy wanted Ethiopia so bad. I mean, Britain's just like, hey, can we just make a border treaty and promise to leave each other alone and trade and stuff? And Britain's just like, sure. I mean, we've got Egypt, we've got Cape Town, we're good. And the French were the same way, but then Italy's like, no, we got to take Ethiopia. And so, you know, we all know how that turned out.
Oh, actually, so because somebody did suggest it, and I did promise everyone, it's time to shill, but instead of shilling for sponsorships, we're going to shill for our own fans. So, this live stream, we're talking on Discord, and if you want to check out the Discord, the Alternate History Hub Discord, I will put a link in the description for this live stream, and you can go check it out and talk to all those wonderful people who really want me to promote it. So I'm going to put it in the description right now. Time to chill out. And sorry for interrupting what we were doing, but
that's fine. We can edit everything in post.
Okay, Discord shill link. There we go.
This show is also brought to you by Casper Blue Apron.
Don't talk to me about no.
Write Ethiopian Empire into the description, and you can get up to 10% off your monthly mattress deliveries.
I think it automatically. The thing that I'm scared is I don't know what I can say, like, in terms of sponsors and stuff, because if I, like, can I joke about this stuff? Who knows?
I mean, again, we can cut everything out later.
No, but I'm saying, you know what? I'm so paranoid that it's almost like maybe a potential sponsor is like watching it, and then they'll be like, "Oh no, he went in this live stream and did this." I don't know.
Oh, come on. All right. If you are from either of those two companies that I mentioned, we do not hate your product. That was a joke about how common your brand shows up in a lot of online media. Good job. You have good brand penetration.
Great Courses Plus is best.
Yeah, hit me up.
Wait, is this? Oh, this one's not live. Okay. I was looking at the live stream, and I accidentally hit it back, and so then I start seeing my screen move on the live stream, and I think, oh, that's not good. See, this shows how we're getting used to this. We're getting used to the live stream. I think it's pretty easy, but this is like the literal first time I've ever live streamed. I think it's going well. Maybe.
Do we want to talk about how long it took us to set up your OBS?
Oh yeah, let's talk about let's talk about the Mac suck story. So I'm using OBS, the screen software, and for TigerStar it works perfectly fine to get desktop audio. So for people who don't know, the way that you're hearing Tristan and TigerStar is through the desktop audio. And that's the only way you can really have people. Well, for Windows, that's an automatic thing that you can just kind of put. But for Mac, you gotta download all of this new software. You gotta download something called Soundflower. And then Soundflower doesn't work. So what happened yesterday was we spent 2 hours trying to figure out how to make this one little feature in OBS work. We had everything else. We had everything else good. It was just this one thing, and it turned out that the only reason it didn't let me was because I had to go to this one program, select a specialized little option, and then go to settings and change the sound. That was it. It saved whole thing. It was like a 30-second thing. But nope. That's the beauty of Macs.
The more you know.
That's what I feel like a lot of Mac stuff is it's deceiving how simple it is. Because it's so
Mac
simple.
makes everything easy unless you want to do something even slightly complicated.
Unless you want to do something like change your computer in any way, then it just is impossible. It's just Maze Runner. You just have to try to figure out everything. And nobody online offers any solutions because you're on your own, buddy. Nobody owns a Mac. So you gotta figure it out for yourself. And then you have like... Yeah. I realize every single Mac issue I have, no matter how common the problem is, I only see the top issue be on those Mac help forums that have like 5 responses. That's it. There's only like 5 responses to these threads. So there's somebody that says, I have blank problem. And then other people are like, hey, I have said blank problem too. And then the thread ends. Nobody has any solutions to anything, and all the Mac people just sit in complete confusion of what we're supposed to do until some random 12-year-old with a screen capture tells us, hey, you just do this simple thing, and we're like, oh, now I know how to use Mac. And that is how every single solution I've learned with this program. Like, Macs are good for, well, I'll say Macs used to be good for creative stuff. Windows has pretty much taken over by now with the Surface, but
Yep.
Adobe kind of just took it over.
Yeah, like Mac doesn't really have anything going for it now. And
remember when Apple said that, like when they first made the iPhone, like, no, Flash is not important anymore. We are not going to have Flash work on our iPhones because it's an outdated program, and we're just, it's just going to die off.
I remember.
Yeah.
Pepper Rich Farm remembers. Yippee.
Yeah, like you would go online, and if there was a Flash program, it would just have like the little, like, a cube symbol with like a question mark in it. Boy, were they wrong about that.
That's fun. Oh! Actually, I just realized, you guys want to do Q&As?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yippee!
I saw like a Twitter thing. Like, did you already ask questions on Twitter?
Yeah, I did a Twitter thing just because I know if I asked the chat, it would do the thing that's going to do in 3, 2, 1, and yeah. So I'll, let me...
It's going to be a wall of text, and half of it's going to be anti-Semitic.
Oh, we found that.
All the questions would be awkward and inappropriate for this stream, especially if we ever hope for someday to have sponsors.
Actually, let me go back to it. I'm going to it. Just one second, people. I'm complaining about my cat. I got a picture of my cat.
Oh, yeah. What's the story of the cat?
You want to do the cat story first? Okay.
Sure.
Cat story. Okay, so, I'm not like a cat guy. I mean, I am a cat guy. I find cats cute and everything, but I'm not like one of those weird guys that would go out and get a cat because I want a cat. It feels weird for a random man to do. So what happened was Luna, which is what I call her now, was found underneath my mom's truck. And my mom works in a town that's probably like 50 miles away. And so she didn't even know where the cat came from because she didn't discover it was in her truck until she brought it in to get checked. And the auto mechanic said, "You have a cat in your truck." And they pulled out Luna. Somehow, she survived the ride from that 50 miles all the way back here. And not only that, then the cat somehow climbed into the truck of my dad's. And yeah. And so then the cat just kind of was hanging around for a little bit. And then my mom said, okay, well, this cat needs to either go to a shelter or something. So she brought the cat to my brother's because for some reason she thought that my brother needed a cat. Like, she was like, you like cats? Because my brother sometimes takes videos of farm cats as a joke. And she said, you like cats, so here's a random cat. Well, if you know my brother, he is never home, and he really doesn't like taking care of things, so it didn't fit his lifestyle in any way. And so it was either he was going to live and hate this cat, or the cat was going to inevitably go to a shelter. So I said, why don't I take the cat? And that's what happened. He didn't really want to take care of the cat because it just didn't fit his lifestyle because he's never home. And I never leave my place because I'm always working on videos. So I brought the cat home and kind of fit in. So I got a cat now, apparently. Who knew? That's the cat story.
There you go.
Yeah.
I thought you guys were going to add something to that, like to continue the conversation. You just wanted to hear the story and that was it?
Some people in the chat are thinking, or the chat are thinking that I am the cat in the story somehow.
No, he's not the cat. He was way before the cat. You're the original cat. You're the OG pussy. Yeah. You don't even laugh at that? Come on, man. It's funny. I could have swore I asked
on Twitter?
I asked on Twitter. I said, oh, okay, here it is. Yeah. Okay, so CJ asked, why did you give yourself eyebrows in the "What if the internet never existed" video?
Yeah, holy crap. The
answer to that...
That's a huge response.
Yeah, the answer to that, CJ, is I'm an idiot, and I thought it would look good, and it didn't. So, I am forever sorry for scarring you for life and your children. Do you plan on getting married and having kids? We all want to answer that, or is that... You don't want to skip that question?
That's up to you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that... Let's see. Oh, okay. How awkward was it for you to, when you first met and planned up the Southern Victory series? So this is a question for both me and you. It wasn't awkward in any way.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
like, a lot of people don't know this, but like, my channel was around before Cody's, and Cody actually used to just be a fan of my channel.
Oh, yeah.
And he started his channel later, and he really, really passed me. But yeah, so I mean, we've kind of known each other for quite a while, actually.
Yeah,
at least online.
Yeah, so a collaboration was always kind of like, it seemed like it would be obvious, and it wasn't. I think what he's also talking about is this.
Is the what?
Is planning the Southern Victory series. Like I mean, when it wasn't awkward when we planned it up because we were already kind of friends by then, and you don't really do a collaboration with people you're not friends with, so it was...
I mean,
it was a casual thing.
We had this idea, like our original collaboration was going to be the what if the Black Death killed like everyone in Europe video. But then, like that was our original collaboration. But then, for whatever reason, we're just like, why don't we do the Southern Victory series by Turtle Dove? And you're just like, oh, that's the best idea ever. We got super excited about it.
Yeah,
and then
it worked.
it took a while, and then we did part 1 and part 2.
Okay, well, the story with part 3. The reason why part 3 took so long was because it was mostly I went to VidCon.
Yeah.
Yay! And then 2, the slavery video took up a month of time, and I actually didn't start work on part 3 until like 5 days until it was released. So the reason
original thing at the end of part 2 said like, oh, it'll be next week.
Yeah. So the reason why part 3 took so long to get out was because the slavery video took forever. And I was always like, I'm already so invested in the slavery video, I can't just stop it and release part 3. And you know how it goes. So anyway, this could be for all of us. When did you get so fascinated in alternate history, and why? So for me, I actually got interested in alternate history because of my friend Tyler, who was actually one of the he also did the videos early back in the day with me, just because we were bored, and then he went off and did his own thing. But he suggested these videos that talk about, like, if the South won the Civil War and Nazis winning World War II, and this was like junior year, and I never thought about it. And so I was like, blew my mind. I didn't even know about Harry Turtledove or any alternate history writers. I didn't even know alternate history was a form of fiction until like a few months after I made Alternate History Hub, because I thought that alternate history was only like this thing that people would make online. Granted, I was like 17. I was like 17 at the time. But yeah, I got into it from these like YouTube slideshows. It was from a guy called Alternate History PT. And
oh my gosh, I remember that guy.
Yep, he's still doing videos, but every single one of his videos ended in global communism somehow, and it just didn't make it. It wasn't very interesting. So I thought, you know what, I'm kind of interested in how this would actually how things would turn out. I'll do my own channel, and so I guess this is kind of saying the origins of Alternate History Hub, but back then there was a subculture of alternate history channels. There was Alternate History PT, Alternate History New York, Alternate History Maine, and Alternate History PT meant Alternate History Portugal, so everyone just named their channels off of where they were. So Alternate History Hub was originally going to be called Alternate History Ohio, but I thought that won't really work in the long term. So I thought, what if I called it Alternate History Hub? Because I was an ambitious little shit, and I kind of thought maybe this could be like the hub for the Alternate History Hub, for the Alternate History channels, and then we could all work together and stuff like that. And then so that's where the name Alternate History Hub came from, was because it was the hub of the alternate history subculture of the time. So yeah, how about you guys? What brought you into alternate history?
So for me, it actually goes all the way back to when I was 6. For my 6th birthday, I got a Game Boy Advance, which for all the people in the chat who are like really young, that was like the handheld video game player of the day. And one of the games that I got with it, it was just a Justice League video game, like based off of that animated series from like the early 2000s. And there were like 3 scenarios you could play. And one of them was a scenario in which a villain named Vandal Savage, who's just like a really smart Neanderthal, essentially, he goes back in time and gives future tech to the Axis powers. And so they take over the world. And so the Justice League goes back to World War II to try to stop the Axis with Uber tech from winning. And I just remember I really loved those levels on that game. And so all of a sudden I liked this idea of alternate history, because that was something that had never occurred to me before. And then like when I was in middle school, my uncle's like, hey, have you ever read Harry Turtledove? Who? Oh, he's this author who does alternate history stuff. You might like it. And so he gave me Guns of the South, and then that's when I literally read every single Harry Turtledove book.
Dude, Guns of the South changed my life. Like it's like you realize like, oh shit, people make fiction of this. It's to tell stories. It's so cool.
Yeah, and like what was so great is since he's popular in the community, but he's not like J.K. Rowling or Stephen King.
Yeah.
So like anytime I went to a library, all the shelves would have like all of his books there.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was always able to just, okay, I'll try this book from him for this week. And eventually I like read like the entire Southern Victory series in like 3 months, and I loved it, and just pretty much all of his books. And ever since then, I've really been fascinated with alternate history.
That's kind of the charm of alternate history, is that, I mean, it's becoming a little bit more mainstream, but I don't know if I want it to become mainstream. I like it being niche and something for history nerds, and something that, like, you know, the politics and the countries and the flags and all that stuff. That's what I love about it. And that only really works in a niche community.
Do you remember when, like, was it like 5 years ago that like Spike TV decided to do like an alternate history show special, and it was so bad. Like,
I still remember it. I still remember it.
For all the people in the chat, in the United States, we have this TV channel called Spike TV. It's known for making a lot of hilariously bad television content. And they announced that there was going to be like a show dedicated to alternate history. I got super excited. Like, finally, something I could see on TV about alternate history. And the first episode was like the Nazis win, because of course, you know, that's going to be the first scenario in an alternate history TV show.
Yeah.
And it was like so over exaggerated. Like all the experts were like not experts at all. And I remember the most hilarious thing was like, so in the world where the Nazis take over the United States, you know how we had the baby boomers? Yeah. Well, there's going to be mass suicides all across the country when the Nazis take over. So instead of baby boomers, we're going to have baby killers or something like that. And it just showed like a really, really bad recreation of just like a guy with like a bad CGI background, just like franticing in his car and just taking a pistol to his head, and, you know, cuts away as like he blows his brains out, and then like Nazi soldiers are marching past the car, just ignoring him. It was so bad.
You can always tell what's bad alternate history, where everything they do is just the exact opposite of what happens in our timeline. Like, it takes alternate history too literally. It's a 180. So instead of the baby boomers, they all kill each other, or instead of like Japan being nuked, the United States is nuked. And yeah, like many like Harry Turtle Dove has had the United States been nuked. Philip K. Dick has, but you know, you have a bigger story than just that. But it's like, if you have something like the Spike TV show, like, I remember every single thing of the scenario they had. Like, they even had people would start protesting against the Nazi regime in, like, the 1960s. And, God, there was that horrible CGI shot of that helicopter that came down and, like, gunned people down.
Yes.
And
the Vietnam helicopters come in and just start shooting the public en masse and just...
Yeah. And they had a huge plan for that TV show, too, because they had at the beginning, I remember, I saw that once, and I remember the beginning, I thought, what if the dinosaurs were never extinct? What if, like, Napoleon never rose, and it was, like, all of these stuff, and they never made another episode. That was it.
Yep. Do you remember the part where, like, it's like, and as Hitler gets older and America is more used to Nazi rule, he'll do things like throw the first pitch in baseball season. And it showed, like, like a guy dressed as Hitler in, like, old man makeup, just, like, tossing a baseball, like a wimpy throw, just like, and just, like, tossing it onto the field and then just, like, waving to everyone.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
What's it called? Speaking of Spike TV, this is the only time that I'll ever be able to talk about it, but, do you remember Deadliest Warrior?
I loved that
show. Oh my God, me too. Yeah, that was
Bard versus Ninja.
That was, I mean, back then I was only 14 when it started, so you didn't really know that much about history, but you also saw a bunch of people with weapons, and you're like, oh my God, this is so cool.
I think I've seen that show, because I remember there was one episode where they were testing out the Aztec macahuatl, like they're like it's kind of like a cricket bat with obsidian jagged in it.
Yeah.
And they like made like a ballistic gel horse head and like cut off a horse's head with that thing.
And like, to give the show some props, like they did do a really good in-depth on like how effective weapons are, and they did like have different types of warriors all over the world. So like, but then I think when I realized that it wasn't as good of a show as I thought it was like in the final season of the show, it was like Napoleon versus George Washington.
Oh my god, I remember that. And that sticks in my head.
Like at the end, they would like recreate all the fights. So for something like a Viking versus a samurai, it'd be one-on-one and it would be easy. But for Napoleon and George Washington, all they did was they had Napoleon and like one guy on a cannon and like two musket men. And the same thing for like George Washington's team. And that's all it was, the recreation. And I'm just like,
that is so
something
funny.
tells me if Napoleon actually fought George Washington, I don't think they would only have 4-on-4. I don't know.
I loved how the logic they had for that was George Washington was able to beat the British Empire in the Revolution, so that means that their guerrilla tactics could just destroy any military anywhere. Like, it wouldn't matter. They're guerrilla people shooting in the bushes. They'll win no matter what because they're sneaky. And
I was talking about this earlier today. Oh, sorry. I was talking about this earlier today about how about the American Revolution, and I was just making this whole statement about like I really need to make a video about how basically Marquis de Lafayette is the entire reason America got its independence.
Dude, you should. Like, I think the French, I know the chat's gonna go nuts about it, but the French were like a huge contributor, and I think everybody knows the French were a huge contributor and basically the only reason America got independent, but a lot of people don't like to admit it. Yeah, you should do.
Even Dutch and Spanish to a lesser extent helped too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but Mark, if you're like to pin it on one person, Marquis de Lafayette's the guy who actually basically turned it from a colonial conflict into like a world war.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he basically fucked over the French regime as well. We don't talk about that. But he pretty much got the royal family beheaded. But thanks France for your sacrifice. You jumped
America,
on the sword. You jumped on the sword for us.
Friendship treaty we made. America, you want to help us? Why are they ignoring us?
Nah.
I don't know.
New phone, who dis?
We want to have our agricultural republic. We'll just kind of chill out here.
The last words of the king and queen of France as they're being dragged out by the revolutionaries. The king just looks into the sky with a fury of anger. America! And as they're just super pissed that we just lied. And meanwhile at home, like Thomas Jefferson is just like reading the paper, or not Thomas Jefferson, whoever's in charge is just reading the paper and just going, so that happened.
That would definitely be an Adams period, I think.
Yeah, because like when were they beheaded? Because I know the revolution was 89, but they weren't like beheaded until like later on.
The revolution was 89 and shit got real around like 91, 92. That's when things really started like falling apart. Because they had like basically after the Bastille was stormed in 89, and then it was like a whole year before they even did something with it. And
but I'm saying that like they kept like the king and queen almost just like
they kept them captive for probably like 5 years, and then they were finally like that's when they like started getting crazy, and they just kind of beheaded them. I was like,
okay, I looked it up. They were beheaded in late 1793.
So like 91, 92.
Yeah, that would be.
Close.
I think that's Adams. I think, or it's like really late in Washington.
I mean, no, it'd be Washington because Adams won 1796.
Okay, yeah, it's Washington.
Yeah.
Man.
So
what a cluster.
Yeah.
Yeah. That. I remember. I did a class. I took a small class on the French Revolution, and it's just fascinating. I think the thing that the French Revolution can teach us all is how quickly everyone can just start one-upping each other as the best revolutionary, and eventually things just go out of hand so quickly. And it's human spirit. I mean, we were even having a discussion. I mean, we're not going to talk about politics, but we were talking about how everyone one-ups each other nowadays. Because they want to be the best revolutionary. They want to have the biggest statement. French Revolution's kind of a good testament to that. I mean, don't want to get into... We have a rule, don't get into politics, because we always end up sipping into it, but, yeah.
Well, it's inevitable.
It is inevitable, but it's also like, I've successfully kept my, political ideology secret from YouTube for forever, so I'm trying.
Although surprisingly, we agree on a lot more than we thought we would.
Yeah, we do. I mean,
it's just like, oh, yeah. Right, we're all people. Happy ending.
I mean, hell, me and Tristan. I don't get how we could have a. I mean, we're basically completely opposite of each other, but
like we identify oppositely somehow, but yet we agree on like the majority of important stuff.
Yeah, on the majority, on like, yeah, on like as. I mean, we're not assholes, so I think that's kind of the lesson
that's
here.
pretty much it.
Yeah, we're not assholes. Good job. Everyone's saying everyone's saying I'm a fascist. That's great. Thank you.
Oh man, you're like a political Rorschach test, Cody.
You're stuck in here with me. Yeah. Watchmen, get it? It's funny.
Yes, very good. Very good. Funny.
Yep, very good. Yippee. No, but yeah. I mean. Okay, this is why. The reason why I like keeping my political identity secret is because with history, anything you say can be considered as bias.
Yeah.
And I like to think that I'm, you know, unbiased. I mean, of course I'm biased in some way. But I mean, even if I approach a situation and I think I'm being unbiased, if somebody knows my political affiliation, they'll be like, oh, he's only saying this because he's this, you know? Or, like, there's so many people on YouTube that we know they're a distinct liberal, we know they're a distinct nationalist. And anything they say, you'll have that idea of, you know, you have... Their identity is already sort of tainting the words that they're actually saying. It doesn't even matter if they agree, if you agree with what they're saying. It still changes it. So what I'm getting to with the history part was because history, I'm trying to teach it. If people think I'm saying this as a biased point of view, it kind of ruins the point of the channel. Because, I mean, I'm making a scenario about what I think would have happened. Well, if people think I'm a conservative or a liberal, they'll say, well, he's just making this scenario then because he's a liberal or a conservative, and this is why he would think it. So, yeah, I like to keep it. I would say that I'm definitely on one end. I'm not a centrist, but
I don't know. I mean, we still agreed on a lot of stuff.
But like I have a different approach because I knew that I wasn't ever going to be able to contain who I am, and it informs a lot of my work and it informs a lot of everything. And so I try to, I wear my politics pretty much on my sleeve for the most part, and then just I just try to have, you know, the quality of my research and my professionalism kind of stand for itself. And you know, if you don't like it, you don't like it. YouTube is a big enough place that I can exist.
Oh yeah, I get that. It's just I like to think that it's kind of like my channel has accidentally become so big that if I say something, it becomes YouTube drama. And I mean, that's never happened to me before, but I mean, people are always looking out to go after a channel and be like, oh, we said this, oh, we did this.
Yeah, like no matter how we choose to identify ourselves, all of us at some point have been accused of being far left, far right, far forward, far backwards, far up, and far down.
That anarchist thread on Reddit was the most craziest thing I've ever seen.
There were highly upvoted comments calling you both communist and fascist. Like, that you can't have both. Pick one. Accuse him of one.
Yeah, and it was just because I did a thing about the Soviets, but it wasn't even biased against the Soviets. Like, I wasn't actually, like, mad. Like, I mean, this is the weird thing. Even though, like, I rarely actually ever... I mean, it's kind of like, since the Soviet Union's dead, there's really no reason to go after its, like, thing of what it is. I just don't really... But I'm interested in the alternate history of the Soviet Union. So I'm very vague about talking about it, and so people then attribute whatever I'm saying about the Soviet Union as either, like, a super leftist thing or a super right thing. No, it's just me talking about the history, people. Like, jeez.
Yep. And, like, there was, like, also, like, one person in that same thread, like, far down, he goes, he's so American biased, he's, like, having America win in, like, all his scenarios. Like, did you see the part 3 of the Southern Victory series? He had America conquer everything.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like...
It's a book!
It's like, what? It's like, yeah, it's a book. He didn't make anything up. He's literally quoting what other people made up. Like, why are you blaming him about it? Like, every single part... We had disclaimer, by the way, this is a part of a book. We're not making this stuff up. Someone else did. Keep that in mind. And yet somehow that comment had like 100 upvotes.
I left Reddit. I actually left Reddit. I go back to check world news, but that's it. Like, I used to browse Reddit all the time, and it wasn't the anarchist thread that broke me, it was another thing. But
Reddit is good for memes and just just the front page to see like what news is at least setting the world on fire right now.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. Like, I started Reddit because I saw the CGP Grey video about Reddit like 4 years ago, and that I was like, oh, that seems cool. And this was freshman year of college. And you have no idea how much Reddit changed me, because I was always on Reddit, even in school. And I actually was stuck in this hole for like 4 years until I finally just left it, and it felt like a weight was lifted off me. Like, the sun was shining, and it was like the only reason I had to be sad in my life was because I was dealing with Reddit crap for no reason. It's like you're almost inviting that in.
I mean, the main thing, all you have to do is just only subscribe to the subreddits that you care about, like memes.
Wholesome
and then
memes.
It'll be happy.
Wholesome memes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Animal
and dank memes. Dank memes.
Yes.
I like.
I love Reddit. Like, it's a fun site. I just I feel like I'm not doing it the same way everyone else does, because everyone talks about like Reddit drama, and like I guess like I just don't read the comments. I just like it as a place to like look at content.
Mm. I've started. It's sad though, because I went from Reddit and I went to 4chan, and I don't like.
No, that's even worse.
Why?
It's interesting. I don't know. I've become addicted to it.
That's how it always starts. Interesting.
Yeah, well.
But then after a few months, you will regret ever visiting the site. I'm just warning you now.
Self-radicalize, man.
I'm gonna just go out with the rare pepes and shit like that.
Why don't we just bring Dig back? Remember Dig? It's like Reddit, but the Reddit that came before Reddit. It was like the MySpace equivalent of Reddit.
Yeah,
like how MySpace came first, but then Facebook
Reddit
came along, just completely obliterated it.
Oh yeah, and then Reddit just destroyed it. But then Reddit got taken over by I don't even know. Like, if you shape your worldview from Reddit, like, I don't even know. I don't even know how you would like be able to live, because you're basically. I don't know how to explain it, to be honest. I don't know how to explain Reddit opinions on things, but it's almost like.
Well, if people are only going to subscribe to what they agree with, then it just creates echo chambers.
Yeah, but I mean, when the entire community itself upvotes and downvotes stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just normal sensationalism. I mean, it just happens. I mean, if it wouldn't be through Reddit, it would be through word of mouth.
Yeah. So What are we talking about? Reddit? Oh, shit, we were talking about
alternate history.
Yeah, we need to get back. We need back. So Tristan, you want to answer that question or?
Sure. Yeah, I'll have a bit of a shorter answer to keep the train moving, but.
Yeah.
I actually got into alternate history when I was a lot older, like 2000, probably 2008, 2009, when I had a lot of like free time, because I was like in community college, so it didn't take a ton of work at that point. Anyways, I've always been a big fan of history. Obviously, for those guys in the chat room out there and everyone who's listening who doesn't know who I am, I actually am a PhD student in history. So
historical
interest
fact.
in history, but my interest in alternate history didn't start with like the books like Harry Turtledove and such. I actually have had a hard time reading Turtledove, but it's like the wikis. And I remember reading like a wiki alternate history scenario that someone wrote out about an alternate history, basically if the world went into nuclear war in like 1985. And following that for a good chunk was basically like what got me into the genre. And I've kind of had like peaks and valleys of interest in it ever since.
Nice. Okay, yeah, so, let's continue on. Yippee. Okay, so... What if England was a city? If England was a city, we wouldn't have Jake Paul.
It would be London with all of the Scotsmen, Irish, Welsh, and all of the, East Anglicans just living on the suburbs.
Is this the same thread? Oh, wait, no, this is the wrong... Okay, I have to skip... Twitter's confusing because I thought that I was on the right thread, and I was like, no, you're not.
For the next episode, maybe you should make like a hashtag. And then you could just read off the hashtag.
No, it's easy because I just have to find the thing that I tweeted, and then people comment underneath it. Okay, so here's one. If you were invading Poland with a tank and 3 other people, what tank and which people would you choose?
The best tank, which I will leave purposely ambiguous because I'm not good with tanks. And then I would do it with Chuck Norris, Napoleon, and let's go with... I'm not sure who my third person would be. Bruno Mars.
Bruno
Mars for the tunes.
We've got to entertain the battalion to keep morale high.
He could fit in it, so yeah. For me, I would have the World War I land ships. I love those. I don't care if I would die. I would probably die in the second. I would have a land ship. I would have Shia LaBeouf as his character in Fury. I would have what's it called? Seth Rogen. I don't know why. And then maybe like that robot that always exploded in Futurama.
Oh yeah, Exploding Eddie.
Yeah, Exploding Eddie. So it'd create this concoction of I would instantaneously die. So yeah, I'm fine with it. And I would take Shia LaBeouf out with me. I don't know. Yeah, but no, it's I don't know. It's something. How about you, Tristan? Tank and 3 people.
Tank and 3 people. All right, so I'm going to do a real World War II deep cut here, and I'm going to go with a mouse. So for those out there, the mouse was a theoretical tank that the Germans were planning on making during the end of World War II because they were finding themselves on an extreme shortage of certain parts, but they had a overabundance of the motors that they needed for their ships, like their sea ships. So they started planning on ideas on how to use these giant sea engines, and they started planning these like obnoxiously oversized tanks. They were ridiculous, and one was called the Mouse, so I'll go with that one.
Those are the tank equivalent of lifting up a truck, but instead of a lifted up truck not doing anything, those would actually like just crush everything. Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. Okay, so next question. Moving us along. What's both of y'all's favorite period in history?
Damn.
I would go with all y'all's for considering there's three of us. So I would say
I see how it is. I see how it is, everybody.
Like, I guess for me, as
well, they didn't know you were gonna be on this.
I know. I'm goofing.
Oh, okay. You goofing?
But right. As much as I love the world wars, I'd say my favorite period in history is probably everything between 1789 and 1871.
Ooh.
So like that, because like everything from like Napoleon to the unification of Germany, because there's so many cool things that happened there. The unification of Germany, unification of Italy, the American Civil War, the Taiping Rebellion.
Wait, Tiger Star. Are you telling me that you have a fascination with pre-World War I Germany? I could not tell. Whoa! That we learn something every day.
Because the suit that my character is wearing is actually Prussian.
Yeah, I know.
So it's not German. You're completely 100% correct.
Well, you know what? Technically, pre-World War I Germany did include Prussia.
Yeah, yes, it did.
Checkmate, atheists.
We need to make a video on that because it's like surprisingly complicated. Like the German Empire was essentially like all the German kings were still there, but they just became like the equivalent of governor with fancy clothes and palace.
What I wanted to do, I hope to God this isn't another Empire of Ethiopia video, but I was interested at one point doing a video about if Germany never unified. And I think that would be a perfect collaboration for us both to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be a tough one.
Yeah, well, that's why I avoided doing it, because you have like every single one. And the only thing I'm really thinking of is if Napoleon never invaded Germany, and so it wouldn't have simplified the entire process to allow Prussia to then compete with Austria. But who knows? Anyway, Tristan, favorite time in history.
Okay. Well, I could go with a couple answers. The first one is the period that I actually do study myself, which is like the War on Terror era, the kind of one we're in now, like the 2001 to 2011 period, which is what I do. But that, that's not as fun. So I'm going to go with probably the turn of the century until about maybe the Depression. So like turn of the 1900 to 1929. Mostly because I really love the explosion of interest. Like there was an explosion of popular movement, radical politics, culture. That's the period of the Harlem Renaissance, and it's a period of a whole bunch of really cool new social movements and stuff going on. And I think that would have been a really interesting time to be alive, to just see the kind of Victorian society fall apart.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. For me, my favorites is Crusades. Nothing beats Crusades for me.
And cue the Deus Volts in 5, 4, 3, 2,
1. Say it, everyone. And we gotta wait. We gotta wait a little bit. But
darn lag.
Yeah.
When did it become a meme, by the way?
There you go. There yeah. Woo! Look at that baby go. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Never underestimate the power of Deus Volt. But yeah, Crusades are my favorite. Also because I'm in RCIA right now, and I'm on the process of becoming a Catholic. So it's kind of really tied to my who I am as a person now. And the church really doesn't celebrate in any way the Crusades, But I find the period fascinating, which I think bleeds into my fascination of Warhammer 40k too, is because 40k is pretty much just the Crusades in space. So yeah, but yeah, I like the Crusades. That's my interest.
Wait, if Warhammer 40k is the Crusades in space, I have a question, because I really like the Tyranids, and who would the Tyranids be in this situation?
Tyranids are the bubonic plague. Tyranids
I'll take that.
Yeah, Tyranids are the things that would, like, they don't give a shit if you're Muslim or Christian. They just kill everyone. So, yeah. Yeah, so, no, you can't say Mongols or Turks because the Turks and Mongols were Muslims. So, okay.
So then for your 10 million sub special, when you inevitably reach there, it'll be a video of yourself attempting to joust.
I actually do. I've done LARPing sometimes with like those swords and shit. It's fun. It's fun as hell. I would never dedicate so much time into it, but it's kind of fun. So somebody said, any advice for up and coming YouTubers? And I met this guy. His name's Technicality. I actually met him at YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think
What's up, Alex?
Yeah, so we can all kind of contribute to this. I would say the simplest thing is make content that people like. And I know that is obvious because, nobody knows what people like, but like all the formulas, all the asking for likes, all everything, it's not going to matter if you don't make content that people actually like. And it's going to take... You're never going to start off with, like, the videos that you will always want to make. You're always going to want to keep, like, improving, and you're going to look back on your stuff as shitty a few months even before. I do that on my videos all the time. But that's kind of progress.
Bad day.
What the hell?
Advice. It's good. It sounds trite at the top, but
honestly,
there's a lot of people on YouTube who see.
iTunes went off. Yeah. So. Oh yeah. Sorry. So, what were you saying?
Oh, it sounds kind of obvious, but there's a lot of people who make content on YouTube, kind of from the perspective of them making what they want to make and like trying to force it to become popular. When like when I went to go make Step Back, I came to you. We had a nice talk because I was interested in how you made your videos, but then I also was looking for like what's the hole that I could fill on YouTube, and that's when I found that like there was nothing in the YouTube history space that wasn't the entire war, and so I decided to fill that.
Yeah. Like the niche. The niche is the most important. Is like if you can find a niche that you can do, nobody else really does it. That is probably your best bet at succeeding, because you can have thousands of Let's Players, you can have all that, but they're all going to be competing with one another. I've never once competed with an alternate history person.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the history people really don't compete against one another. I feel like that's a thing with education in general. We don't really compete. We kind of just like talking about stuff, and we talk about stuff that we know, and people like hearing us talk about stuff. That is all we are at the end of the day.
Competing doesn't really work in media in the same way it does in like other things, because like you can it's not like if I watch Cody's video, I'm not going to watch Tiger Star.
Mm-hmm. In fact, it benefits us from, of course it benefits us from interacting and collaborating and growing all together, because if we all grow it all together, then we're crafting a bigger and bigger community. So I mean that's kind of the good thing about you're not wasting too much time dedicated to one specific person, because there's a whole bunch of. I mean, I can't even think about how many YouTubers that are relatively similar that I watch, but I love all of their content all the same. And I don't know. I mean, it's pretty much just make your content good.
Yeah. Plus, it helps that like history isn't a product. It's not like a copyrighted idea.
Mm-hmm.
So like we don't need to be competitive over it. It's already there. It's there for everyone to use. So like, okay, person makes a video on World War II. That's cool. Everyone else can do that too.
Mm-hmm. And there's so many resources on it too. There's so many books and so many different perspectives, and it's written down, so you can take different angles and, yeah. That's why. I mean, I love history because, I mean, I already loved history, and I decided to talk about history. Well, it just so happened that history is a relatively good thing to talk about on YouTube. Anyway, continuing. Alternate history hub. Why do you own a Confederate flag? So I don't actually own, like, oh my god.
Wait. This belies one of the most important things that might ever happen in the history of this podcast.
What?
Is this person under the impression that your drawings are real life?
No, they probably looked at my behind the scenes. I actually do have, I own many different flags. So I have, I don't know why this iTunes keeps playing. It just keeps trying to play. It is weird. Yeah, so the reason why I own the original first national flag of the Confederate States. And
so the real Confederate flag,
not
the battle flag.
Yeah, I don't own the real battle flag, not because like offensive or anything. I mean, I own a literal Nazi flag. I just don't. I mean, I like flags. I don't really connotate them with the things that they were. I mean, I have a British flag. Do I think about the glory of the British Empire all the time? Or I have a Canadian flag. Do I think about how amazing it... Well, I have a Canadian-American Union flag. Do I think about how amazing Canada-America would be teamed up? I mean, yeah, they would be, but I'm not going around vocalizing it. Yeah, I mean, I like certain designs for flags.
You're collecting artifacts. I mean, that's simple.
Yeah, I'm collecting
like
artifacts.
I have several, like I have an Iron Cross medal, but I mean, I'm not a Nazi. I'm not like pro Kaiser Germany or anything. It's just a cool thing to have.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, personally, I like the look of the what? Why does this do this?
Bad day.
Why is this? What is this? I don't know what this is. Anyway, yeah. So I kind of like the look of the first national flag because it looks like the American flag, but not. And then
smaller everything.
Yeah, and I get why it was confusing in battle and stuff, but it's a more simplistic American flag, which is why I like the Ohio flag too. That's the same exact reason why I like the Ohio flag, is just because it's like the American flag, but it's not. I actually own a Union cavalry flag, which is hanging right behind my computer, and I'm looking at it right now. I just like stuff that's a variation of red, white, and blue. I don't know. Yeah, so anyway, going on. Beep boop boop.
The traditional Confederate flag was never a national flag. It was like a cavalry flag for like the Tennessee cavalry or something like that.
It was for this,
like the one that like the Hicks fly these days. I don't.
That was the Army of Northern Virginia. That was the...
Yeah, that was just the battle flag that land forces used in battle.
Well, what happened was, because Robert E. Lee was so successful, when they changed, they basically needed a new flag because the original CSA flag, which I have, was so confusing in battle, they kept firing on each other. So they switched it out with the symbol of Robert E. Lee, which was the stars and what we'll call the Confederate flag on a white field, and that became sort of relatively adopted as the Confederate symbol. So yeah, let's see. I do not get why this is doing this. I don't get why iTunes is going off. What's your favorite subject other than history?
Geography.
Yeah, I'd say geography. Yeah. Wow, that was simple.
Well, no.
Okay, something that's not geography. Something that's not geography.
Yeah. All right.
Mine's
music.
is art. Yeah. Oh, I know you and music. Yeah, definitely, I could see that.
For me, it'd probably be computer science.
Yeah. So that's your answer. That's our other lives that aren't just history. What if
history and rock and roll?
Cartography, Tiger Star. It's the obvious one for you.
Why is life so suck? Because you're eating nothing but chicken nuggies all day and being neat. Okay, so what if Adolf Hitler passed art class? He would make some very nice paintings. I'll say that.
There'd be a lot more people alive.
A lot more people alive. A lot more people probably born because people get so horny from his beautiful paintings.
And ironically, more people dead thanks to a lack of frostbite research.
Ooh.
Yeah, like what would have happened if like Hitler like developed as an artist and then like in his older years he got into some like super like next like abstract but also like really erotic stuff. Like he became like kind of like part of like the new wave art movement in the 60s and stuff.
You know what would be so... Oh my god, that's actually a fantastic idea for, like, maybe a short story. I don't know. Somebody's probably going to steal it since I'm saying it. But what if there's just a story that follows a young Hitler... Well, not a young Hitler, an old Hitler. And he lived his entire life as a successful artist. And because of his successful art career... he became like one of the leading liberal minds, and like he adopted modernism. He adopted all of these sort of things, and
becomes a hippie older.
Yeah, becomes like a hippie older.
Becomes a hippie.
He becomes a hippie older, and the world knows of Hitler, but they only know him as this kind artist. I don't know. That's kind of.
Just like I could see in his portraiture, there's like influences of Picasso, you know, and Hitler, and it's like just see like the brushstrokes.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know why somebody would make that, but it'd be an interesting alternate thing. Let's see. Okay. Somebody said, "What if you weren't doing this Q&A right now?" I would be sleeping, because I am surprisingly going off of almost 48 hours of sleep, of no sleep.
I'm about to say 48 hours of sleep.
Yeah, 48. Yeah, I'm actually sleeping right now. This is yeah. What was the other thing that we had? We had the Q&A. We had the other thing. One sec. We had the structure, Tiger Star. Have
we done the swimsuit contest?
I mean, we thought about. I added this thing for like fan mail, but I mean, this is the first episode, so like we don't really have that yet.
Oh,
so
we could actually do. One sec. I really hate how Discord automatically doesn't. Okay, here we go. Fan mail. Maybe one last story. So we could
gather around the fire, children. We're gonna have one more story before bedtime.
Actually, okay. Before we do the one last story, we could. I think this is a good time to basically say, like, you know, if you want to do like fan mail and stuff, we'll read it on the live stream. So either send it through, preferably send it through Gmail. So I have links to my Gmail, in my channel description, So if you want to, just do that, or you can send it to Tiger Star too if it's.
Put it in P.O. Box 494, all the way in Walla Walla, Washington, and we'll be sure to get to that never.
Yes. And I live in the CN Tower. You could just send it there.
In true Canadian fashion. I actually live in a giant Buckeye tree. Yeah, so, okay, one last story. It doesn't work when we're trying to force a story. You know? You can't.
We can edit it in post.
Wait, I got a story.
Yeah, a story. Is it full of adventure and dragons? And tales?
Alright, it's a story about you and me.
Oh.
And a large part of a cow.
Oh, well, okay. Oh! I know what you're talking about. You want to talk? Yeah, you tell.
Yes. All right, so Cody and I met at VidCon. We had talked before, but we finally met in person. It was really fun. And your friend, what's your friend's name again?
Elric,
yeah. So the three of us plus my wife Kelly all went out for a nice steak dinner. And you know, I'm a grad student, right? I'm not I knew this was going to be fancy, but I did not know that when we showed up at this restaurant that Alaric wanted us to go to, it had Aston Martins pulling up in front and people getting out into
Oh, don't tell him the price of the steak. I don't.
Oh, no, I'm not going to go into the price. Okay, but cool. Here's the story: is that when we sat down to get said steak, Cody really wanted a steak.
Okay, let me defend myself. Okay, so I was in the middle of Anaheim, California. There was not a decent smokehouse place in the entire area. If I do not have barbecue at least 3 times a week, I start going nuts. So I needed something that was dead and was smoked. And so we go to this place that's just called, what was it called? The Ranch? Was it just called the Ranch?
Yeah, it's called the Ranch.
Yeah, it's called the Ranch. It was a Western place. So continue on.
So he's really hungry. And if there's one thing you need to know about Cody in real life is that he's a guy who can put away a lot of food if he puts his mind to it.
You call me fat?
No, I'm calling you hungry. And all right, so so he orders this steak and it's 56 ounces.
You're making me hungry. I haven't ate the entire day, so this is actually making me hungry thinking about it.
The steak was so big that the bone that held it together actually couldn't fit on the plate. It was sticking off the plate. So we all get, non-Flintstonian steaks, the rest of us, and we all eat them. And the next 45 minutes is Cody just staring down this giant pile of meat. By the end, you were chewing cold gristle, and you were just adamant that you were just going to finish this. And I think you did, but then there was also a bunch of cold scalloped potatoes.
I'm not. Everyone's thinking I'm fat too. I'm not fat. I'm 180, so I'm pretty good. I'm good.
You're just hungry.
Yeah, I'm just hungry. It's my dad always cooks steak, and so steak I can just go through so easily. And also the rum and coke was helping too. Oh yeah, the rum and coke. Wait, were you saying that to me or were you saying that outside?
No, you went through a fair number of rum and cokes.
I didn't go through a fair number. I went through 3, 4.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Either way,
yeah.
Just that moment where you were staring down cold gristle after your mouth was getting tired. It was just so much steak. You took some pictures. I don't know if they're public or anyway, but you took some pictures of you.
I hate those pictures too. I was sweating. Well, I wasn't sweating, but my face was visibly red because of it. So it was the worst pictures I've seen.
Yeah, you were the best one is just you holding the bone. They 13-inch long bone over your head, a triumphant
oh my God. That was a great
caveman warrior.
That was a perfect way to end VidCon. Was just taking everyone out, having that best meal. If I go back to VidCon, I will go back to VidCon. I think I would only go back to VidCon to visit you. And because other than that, other than you and Yeah. It was, pretty much like, yeah. But you and Matt, other than you and Matt, it was, and Alaric, because I ran Alaric too. Well, it's really not that big. It's kind of the same thing, but in California and surrounded by a lot of 12-year-olds. So,
VidCon should move to somewhere in the Midwest.
Are you suggesting maybe Missouri, Tiger Star?
Suggesting what?
Are you suggesting maybe Missouri?
It could be Missouri or Kansas. I don't care. It's just when you live in the literal middle of the country, if it's on either coast, you're just, well, I guess I'm not going to that.
Mm. So unless it's like Denver, you're like, yeah. Or like Dallas, or like Dallas or something.
Dallas would at least be remotely feasible for me.
Yeah, Ohio is usually, there isn't really a lot to go on the East Coast. I mean, the East Coast kind of depresses me, to be honest. Except for like Washington D.C., the rest of the East Coast is kind of like eh. The West Coast is soulless, but it has some really good what's it called? It has a good, I can't think of what it's called. Climate. Has a good climate. Has a good, yeah. So, it's not depressing. It doesn't make me sad because there's like not even a cloud in the sky. Yeah, I forgot where I was going with this. Somebody saved me from my rambling.
I think you're trying to talk about why you like Ohio a lot.
I like Ohio, but I also don't really like anywhere else. So I like Ohio because I'm simple. I'm a simple guy, and I could be happy with I love the channel. I love the channel and everything, but the channel is to give me income. Well, the channel is one to do what I love, but the channel also gives me income to live my life the way I want. And so if that means like buying guns, buying a new truck, supplying a life for my girlfriend's shit, I'm fine with that. So yes, white boy from Ohio thought, thank you. That is exactly. So I'm a basic bitch for the Midwest, but yeah, that's why I like Ohio, because I'm simple.
Move to Missouri. We have a low cost of living outside of St. Louis and Kansas City.
Well, I am moving to Texas, so we'd actually be close to each other, relatively.
Wait! I thought this was like a far-off dream, moving to Texas. Are you actually planning this? Like short-term planning?
Within probably, I'm hoping, a year or two.
Oh wow! No, just do Missouri.
Well, the thing is that I already have my sights on Texas, so.
No, I just refuse. Southwest Missouri.
Well, I'll visit. How about that?
Shortly after VidCon, I actually moved to Toronto, and I live in like downtown Toronto, and I love it. Like it must be the opposite of Ohio, I think.
I mean, I'm a person that I don't like places that are expensive to live in. So I don't know. I think that completely just is different personalities, to be honest. Like you like where a lot of stuff is going on, and then I'm kind of like, I don't know. I kind of like out in rural nowhere. Not too out in the middle of nowhere, because my brother lives in a place called Delta, and it's basically like 500 people, and that's a little bit too much. But I like with the convenient Walmart and stuff.
Yeah, I like stuff. I like subways. I like the fact that like there's a YouTube space here where I can film all those fancy new videos I've been making.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we definitely don't have those here, but I also don't film my I like that's the thing. It's like this is entirely just it works perfectly. Your region works perfectly for you, and my region works perfectly for me. And all my cats snuggling. That's cute.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna fault it. It's cool. I like it for me. You like it for you. Good.
Yeah.
So then, Cody, when you move to Texas, what you need to do is you need to record a film of yourself just standing outside your house in whatever outfit you're wearing and just holding a bottle of beer in your hand, and just like every episode of King of the Hill, you just go,
Yep. Well,
that boy ain't right.
Boy ain't right. Well, the thing is I already Indiana is already pretty much the South.
Oh, God, Jimmy.
I already have the thing, I kind of have experience already, and so, and I just know my voice is going to change too, so I have to stop because you know how you go to a place and you adopt the accent?
You adopt the accent?
Yeah. Like, if I go to Indiana,
again,
and sorry, stop it.
You're gonna like start making videos wearing a 10-gallon hat, and all of your scenarios are gonna be like,
Jesus.
You know, you said that there's that guy with the scenarios that ended with communist revolution. All of yours are gonna end with Texas independence.
Oh God, no! I would not actually ever do. Okay, so this is gonna be. I would never be a poser. Like, I know that I'm kind of, you know, somebody who's moving there. I'm not gonna automatically be like, yeehaw, cowboy, I'm always been from Texas. You know, I'm not doing that. It's you see it as it's a place to move, and but I do know that just unconsciously my voice is going to get a little bit of a twang, because it already does that in Indiana when I spend like a week with my grandma and my uncle, because they kind of sound like this a little bit, and so my voice kind of takes a little bit of that Indiana twang, and it's so that's what they sound like, but I start to kind of get a little bit of that, and I'm probably good at there too, so hopefully my videos don't change. Hopefully.
Howdy y'all, welcome to Alternate History Hub. Welcome to Cody Franklin's Alternate History Hub and Pub and Grill.
I'm gonna do squirrel jokes. Howdy, y'all! How many squirrels does it take to put in a light bulb?
I don't know. Tell us.
I don't know. What was the joke?
He wasn't ready for that one.
Wasn't it like none because they're so darn stupid? Yeah, because they're so darn stupid. Oh, jeez. What's so great?
We're just gonna go and start a bar and grill and like finish with this whole YouTube thing.
Yeah. Oh, people are asking where in Texas. We're not. Me and my girlfriend aren't like exactly positive, but we're aiming for more of like northeast, so around Dallas, Tyler area.
So actual King of the Hill territory.
Yeah, pretty much. So I don't want to go. I don't want to go south of Houston or north of Dallas, because that's just Oklahoma. So yeah. So it's that sweet spot. No, not Austin. I'm not going to Austin. But yeah. So it's that nice old sweet spot. And yeah, it's because it's kind of like here. Ohio kind of has the same geography, except it has a little bit more trees. So, Texas, or at least this area of Texas, is like Northwest Ohio, but it doesn't have freezing cold winters that make you want to die. So that's a good thing. The winters are very, very influencing on my decision to move.
It's actually kind of funny because living in Southwest Missouri, where it gets, in my opinion, too hot every summer, I would much rather live somewhere like a climate of Ohio. Because like I've always just fared better in colder weather than warmer weather. But I don't know.
Here we have the worst of both worlds. Like Southern Ontario has this wonderful thing where we have maybe like 6 nice days a year, and that's just between like ridiculously cold and too hot.
So you're telling me that in Ontario you have prices that are super expensive for land and you only get like 6 nice days out of the whole year, pretty much.
It's not the best city in Canada. It's just the only big one.
Oh,
I guess you can go to Montreal, but if you go to Montreal, you need to know French.
Morgan Andrew wants to call out. Hi, Morgan Andrew. I just saw that random thing. That's why not. Yeah. So, what, Kat? What do you want? Can you guys hear?
Yeah, I heard him. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just loud. She does this thing where I think I got a bit too clinging of a cat, because if I'm not in the room with her, she'll like meow and meow and meow and meow 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 meow. So I have to literally pick her up and drag her and like put her in my like seat next to the computer, and then she starts purring and she's happy. But then she starts doing this thing where she just climbs on all over the chair. Yeah, she's pretty much. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So what you're saying is you have a cat.
Well, compared to my girlfriend's cat is freaking evil. And I'm gonna say this in case she's actually listening to this eventually. Yes, Izzy, your cat is evil, because he's like this black, very black, huge cat, and she always acts like he's the cutest thing ever, but I think he's gonna eventually kill somebody. Like, I would not be surprised if he's like Voldemort as a cat. So yeah, there are some cats that do not like just sitting around, and they like killing things, because that cat likes killing things. People are saying People are saying I don't like blacks now. Come on, thanks everyone. That's great.
I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to say anything because I was worried if I said something, then they'll.
I know people are like, "Oh, the live chat is cancer." I think the live chat's funny as hell. I like it. I actually like it. But yeah, Tiger Star, would you say that this was actually a very successful live stream? I think we went. How long did we go?
2 hours.
Yeah, 2.5 hours.
Wow.
And I imagine once we edit this down, it'll be like an hour 45.
Like 6 minutes.
Yeah, I'll have to. Oh, I completely forgot to make the YouTube channel. I need to do that.
That's fine. Do we want to just go ahead and tell them this? We're planning to make this.
Yeah.
What do we decide? Weekly, semi-weekly, monthly? I
could do weekly.
Yeah, I could do weekly.
Yeah, I would like. Right. I would like to.
Weekly podcast.
Well, weekly live stream, and then we'll edit it down for other audiences on another channel, which be sure to like check my social media and stuff. I might announce in the next video too. But our podcast will be called So That Happened, and it will be pretty much discussing exactly what we do here, just nerd stuff or history stuff or life stuff or just anything. And yeah, so check back next time, and do you think this is a good time to actually call it an end?
Yep.
Yeah, I would say so. I need to order that Papa John's already.
You didn't order the Papa John's already? I thought you were eating the Papa John's this whole time.
No, because like based on the time zones, we kind of got in here at like 4:30, 4-ish. So it's just like
yeah, it was
it's just that awkward time where it's not dinner time yet, but
yeah,
I'm sure we'll be fine. And
I haven't ate the entire day. I'm going on 48 hours of no sleep, and also I haven't ate since last night. So
good lord, man.
Yeah, well,
do it for the stuffed crust pizza.
Do it for the vine.
Consume it for yourself, for the stream, your health, and most importantly, America.
And on that note, and on that bombshell, thank you everyone for watching, and thank you guys for doing this with me. I mean, this was pretty great.
Finish with the sign off.
Yeah, how about you guys finish with your sign off first, and then I'll do mine last.
I'm Emperor Tiger Star.
I'm Tristan from Step Back History.
And I'm Cody from the Alternate History Hub. Like and subscribe. Okay.